Hey, hey, survivor rights, and to all of my personal friends that are on my page, and to those of you watching on YouTube later. We're going to figure that streaming thing out to YouTube, but not yet. Welcome. It is another day, another week has passed, and we are back. Steve and Crystal talking it through. Today, we are talking about, is our need to be right costing us connection? How are you, Steve?
I'm great. Looking forward to it today.
Yeah, me too. This topic is timely on so many levels in the world and in our community that you and I, you know. Um, okay, I'm just seeing if we're out there. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Mardell. We're out there. Hey, hi, Joan. All right, we have a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. We were going to talk about gossip, but we switched it. Oh, Mardell's saying I had to open the event page and then click watch live. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about, but okay. But we'll post it later anyways. Okay. Let me get focused here for just a second and onward we go. Okay. Being right, the need to be right. And, I was going to start it out with, you don't have to think like me for me to care about you, right?
Absolutely.
You and I don't see eye to eye on everything, but a lot of things. Well, not everything.
No, and that would be boring.
It would be. It would be so boring. Okay, so start us out with, why is our need to be right so dang important?
It's kind of a human condition. It's our brains like to put everything into a box that's absolute. And if we don't know a truth, if we don't know what is, our brains will make it up. And we want to. Certainty is safety in our brains.
Yes.
It keeps us safe, so to speak. So when we are raised in a system that is the one true way, that word true really comes through pretty heavy, because everything is right in the way we're taught to think, see, say, do, feel. There is no, the rightness of the one true way is an absolute.
Right.
There's no deviation from it. So when you spend generations thinking that way,
Right.
being programmed that way, being taught that way, there's almost no space for anything else but that one point of view. I mean, I think each of us can think back to times where we judged the lost souls, the people on the outside, the people, how bad the people of the world were, on and on and on. I mean,
Yep.
all of that is just part of being right. And even when you're not right, it's, being right is, there really is no such thing.
No.
There's just my opinion, your opinion, what I think, what you think. And it's okay that they're different, but we were not allowed that.
No, we were not. And here's the other thing that I think magnifies this, especially for 2x2s. Certainty is what our brain craves. There's a reward for certainty, and that's just like the lane. It's like why we want to be in our comfort zone all the time, and why we like creature comforts and all those things. That's how we're wired. But curiosity, which we talked a lot about curiosity last week, curiosity requires humility, and we did not learn humility. We talked a lot about humility. We talked about being humble, but let me tell you what, we were the special and the chosen ones in the entire world.
I think in that one true way, there was a lot of ego in being humble.
Absolutely.
Which really isn't humility. It's just purely ego of being right.
Totally. And that has really helped me when I have stopped in this last week, especially, to think through, why are they behaving like this? What can we do to help them understand why what they're doing is so harmful, besides pounding them over the head with it? And I'm not sure that there's an answer to that. And I'm pretty much beyond worrying about what the overseers do, because I'm just worried about the people that we love. But being unable to tolerate being wrong is the problem. That is the problem. That is the ego at the center of it all. And, we've talked a lot about this in all the times we've been together. Honesty, being honest with ourselves and honest with one another, is really the only way out and the only way through. And that's freaking hard, man.
It's a lot of work. I mean, I can recall very vividly the need to be absolutely right, and it can be devastating to be not right. You know,
Yes.
whatever your opinion or thought is, because that was the only way to be safe in a system like that.
Yes. And it's the only way to be safe in our political world that we're living in now
Yeah,
in this country.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting that when you brought up in that system that safety is in the pack mentality and the rightness
Yes.
of the pack. That bleeds into everything you do, into your personal
Yes.
relationships, your work relationships. It becomes a way of being for us.
Mhm.
It just permeates our brains and our every facet of our life. And
Right.
yeah, we're seeing way too much of that. Social media makes it even worse.
Yeah. And I think we're so fearful of being wrong that we just dogmatically stay on the pound the drum, that we're pounding,
Yeah,
which,
it's unsafe.
yeah, it takes a lot of time and energy for me. It has in this last week, contemplation and prayer for me personally, to just think through, am I beating the right drum? Am I doing it? What should I be doing if this, like, I just want to make sure that I'm in the right alignment and listening to what it is. So I was very aware of some things that happen when we know we've crossed the line into the ego side of it. The list that I made is that we start interrupting, we stop listening to the other side, we are preparing our rebuttal while they're giving theirs.
Yep.
We need the last word. We start collecting evidence instead of understanding. I thought that one was like, since I just did a big show on evidence last week. But
Yeah.
that's it. It's important for the argument. There's a case for
Yeah.
each one of these, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But when
And we
winning,
stop being curious.
yes, stop being curious, and winning becomes more important than connection. And
Yes.
that's the part that I feel like is what gave me cause for pause this last week, is that to further widen the gap of lack of connection, that can't be what we're supposed to be doing. We need
Right.
to redo that. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you today. So talk to me for a second about the hidden cost of being right.
Whew.
Always being right.
It's so relationship damaging. Any relationship. It's the inability to hear others, to have others hear us, to understand other points of view. But yeah, that's really what corrodes any kind of relationship, unless you're stuck in a system that, there is only the one true way of thinking. In any other instance, it's really going to corrode any relationship, personal, business, work, whatever it is. There's a huge personal cost to it. There's lack of connection, loss of connection. I mean, the list goes on and on.
I made a list of the relationships that this particular need to be right has cost me. And that list is way longer than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I wrote the thing that I did today about I'm a mediator by, like, that's just what my nature is. I'm trained to be a mediator. So it's like, we need to ask better questions. I felt like I needed to go back to what we were talking about last week and then talk more about it this week, because we have within us the power to do it. And remember that they don't have the tools. We're going to have to show it how
Yeah.
to do it from this side. And that's the humbling part, and the part that gets frustrating, because it's like, why do we always have to be the one that's stepping up? And
And that's hard.
yeah.
I mean, it's no joke. It's really difficult to be the one that has to step up and always kind of take the blows.
Yes.
But you kind of have to be able to create change and
Yes.
to create the understanding. There's no two ways about it.
I totally agree. So when I stopped asking the question, how can we prove this point, and started asking, what do we not know yet? And what I found for myself was that one of those questions that I put out there was, I don't know why they're staying. I've not asked them why. What is it
Yeah.
that they're still getting out of it? Instead of just being like, you are the head in the sand, most ridiculous, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I use the word understanding a lot.
Yeah.
I need to understand where they're coming from, why
Yes.
they're having the views they do. I feel like it's super effective in communication to not only try to hear somebody, but really understand where that point of view came from, why they are like they are. I feel like good communication, good conversation starts with a really deep understanding. Like we realize that overseers are who they are,
Mhm.
but you also can look at them and understand that their actions right now are the only path they have left to save their face, to save their position, to save who they are. Not that any of them are right, or as we'd like to think, but to them they are, because that's the only way they're. So I think it's important, even in personal relationships, to understand where the other person is
Right.
coming from. What's their life background? What's their family background? How were their views of life shaped and made? And what was their family patterns? Were they emotionally, verbally abused as a child? A lot of those things really make a difference in how people communicate. And they're wanting to be right in their way of communication. We're wanting to be right, but understanding goes such a long, long ways towards beginning real communication and connection.
I totally agree with you. One of the biggest things I wanted to say is instead of us always, no matter what it is, I don't care what the topic is, even if you're at work or you're talking politics with your neighbors or whatever it is, or you're in the two by twos, whoever's listening to this, instead of saying you're wrong, if we lead instead with I see it differently,
Mm-hmm.
it's a completely different conversation. If you want them to hear you, we've got to learn how to reframe
Yeah.
the leading. I see it differently is totally a completely different landing than you are wrong and you are ridiculous and you are, or instead of saying you always say what's happening for you, why are you
Yeah.
behaving like this?
Tell me more about that. I'm not quite understanding your
Yeah.
position, your point of view.
Yeah. And I think all of this, though, starts with the intention of wanting connection. When we
Yeah.
go into any argument, choosing to set the intention for it that I want connection, even if you're arguing with your spouse over whatever, has nothing to do with religion or anything. You just want, if what you want at the end of the day is connection, it's not about giving up. You have to decide what you both want.
Yeah.
What do we agree on? So starting with what do we agree on instead of what do we disagree on, start there. Start with, on this issue, is there anything that we agree on?
Mm-hmm. And then second, move to understanding their position.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreement, understanding, rather than, well, I know this and I'm right about this. So how come you're thinking that?
Right.
That doesn't really help anyone.
Yeah. So many cultures in the world, wars from the beginning of time are over what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine.
Yep.
It's that consumption, it's that need to uh, just have more than the next guy. And I think that leads so much into our need to control and to win and to be right.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's I don't even know. So talk for a second about why we uh defend things even when we know we're wrong. Like instead of exploring it, we know we're wrong, but we're going to defend it to the death. Talk for a second about that.
Yeah. Because it's, vulnerable feels scary. And being not right feels like failure when you're raised in a way that you are always right. It
Right.
it can take away it feels like it can take away your self-worth.
Hmm.
A lot of times we find our identity in just knowing we're right. There's a rightness to it.
Right.
And there's a good feeling to it, but to admit that everything I've known is not always right is it's a feeling of loss.
Yeah.
And until we can start letting that go and realizing that that's actually the vulnerability of not needing to be right is actually really powerful. There's a
Hmm.
lot of strength in it to be that vulnerable.
I've been thinking a lot this last week. Again, the advantage that you and I have is that we've been out for a long time. And I hate to say that that's an advantage, but it is. And I've been thinking a lot about what my years have been like, how the pendulum went way over here on me being so in your face and I'm right and I'm going to do it my way and just needing to prove in every way possible that I was successful, that I didn't need anybody, that I was going to do it my way, I was going to look this way, I was going to wear my jewelry, all of those things. I just had such a need for that outward um and that was the thing I did first for myself
Hmm.
personally before I swung back, and it has really been in just the last 10 years and probably in the last 3 more than ever that I have really felt the humility of having so much courage and having so much love inside of me. It is humbling and it is scary. And I kind of, when I got honest with myself, I realized, Steve, that I had been running from my own, what I was born to do.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh yeah. Because it's such an unwinding process we all go through. And
Yeah.
you talk about the value of being out for a long time. It's true. I mean, anybody that's out 3 years has a lot more life experience than someone's been out a year. And you look back and you see how much you've changed in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and
Yeah.
20, 30 years. Yeah, there's a lot of growth and change and reconditioning that goes on that
Yeah.
is is just different. I mean, there's nothing that can help more than time.
Right.
We talk about the time value of money. Well, this is the time value of ourselves.
Experience. Yes. Getting outside
Yeah.
that bubble. And again, it's not a competition of who is moving forward fastest, but that is a
Yeah.
huge motivator for me to help people have tools that nobody gave me. You know,
Same.
I did have people that gave them to me. I was very blessed in that way, but it was my professors in college, it was my bosses at work, it was some of my clients, it was just a variety of people. Not one of them was someone, well, other than my birth father. My birth father was a very strong uh, influence on me, separating that
Mhm.
and not needing to be right necessarily, but really helping me build my confidence. So, talk for a
Yeah,
second
it
about
makes a big difference. I mean, we had to find the people, find the resources, which were
yes,
not easy to find back then, but
no,
they were out there. I mean, to have a full community of support would have been really valuable back then.
right.
It probably would have made our journeys 3 times as fast.
That's what the goal is here. Let's speed
Yeah.
this up for people if we can. Okay, so here's what I want to know. Here's my big question for you. Why is I don't know, but let me find out, or I'm not sure, so damn hard to say? It's not that hard. Once you become a confident person, that's the smartest response possible. But in the beginning, why is it so hard, Steve?
Because again, it goes against everything we've ever been taught.
Yeah,
It's we were taught to not be vulnerable. We just obey the party line, the group think. And now all of a sudden, I don't know. We've always known. That's
right.
that's our identity is knowing and being right.
But it was
It's
an illusion
vulnerable.
of knowing.
Yes. Yeah, not that it was true knowing.
Yeah,
We were taught that we knew. We were taught that we were
right,
right. That didn't make it right or healthy, anything. So
right.
to be able to sit there and just admit, I actually don't know. It's actually weirdly really vulnerable. I've struggled with that for years. Now I realize I don't know much at all. And it's life's
Pretty
actually a lot
humbling.
easier.
It is. Yeah, and I think about it, it's like, I don't know. I don't know a lot of things. I
Yeah.
really do not know a lot of things. What I will say is the things that I do know, I'm pretty dogmatic about those things.
Hmm.
Once they are revealed to me in a way that is crystal clear, that's what I call it. Um, but even then, I have at least learned how to deliver them in a way. I try not to beat people over the head unless they truly deserve it.
Yeah.
But
There's a
anyway,
few that deserve it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm gonna keep beating on that. Okay, so why do we defend instead of explain? This is the other thing. This is one of my biggest things about being wrong. People know they're wrong and they just keep meh, So instead of of explaining why they're right, they just keep defending it. So like, and this is a perfect example. I'm going to use the overseers. They're not explaining to us anything. They're just defending the
Mhm.
hell out of being wrong.
Yeah, and we see that on every level, from overseers, but we see it in interpersonal relationships too,
Yes.
whether it can be a boss, it can be a spouse,
Yes.
child, parent. But again, it really just goes back to that fear of being vulnerable, fear of being wrong. And there's oddly so much power and confidence and rightness and being able to be wrong. But we defend our positions because in some ways, when we don't know the power of vulnerability, being wrong feels like a death.
Mm,
It can be that scary.
yeah. Vulnerability is, in fact, the essence of connection.
Yes.
At the end of the day, um, if you're not vulnerable with someone, that's when respect starts to diminish. That's when connection starts to diminish. That's when distance, becomes
Mhm.
a new way of doing it. So here's the other thing that I want to talk about: doing it this other way, being curious, giving evidence, coming at it from vulnerability. That doesn't mean you're backing down, and it doesn't mean you're giving up, and it doesn't mean you're not going to continue speaking truth. I want to talk through that for a second, because curiosity does not mean agreement. So I
No.
want to be really, really clear about that. Um, what does
Yeah.
it mean in your
Well,
book?
if a lot of us, if I listen, people will think I agree, and that's a feeling we have. But really, listening isn't giving in. It's understanding to be able to enter vulnerability, which creates connection. But just, yeah, curiosity. We do have that preconditioned thought that curiosity or asking questions might allow the other person to think I'm trying to agree with them and they're going to convince me.
Right.
When it's really not. We're just asking that,
Mhm.
I want to understand how you arrived there.
Yeah.
It's for the sake of understanding the person and how they come to their points of view rather than trying to change somebody's point of view. I don't need to change their point of view, but I'm curious where it came from, how they got to it. And then I can either respect their point of view and respectfully disagree, or change my point of view a bit, or I can look at like the overseers and like, I don't know what to do with you. But we have the bigger understanding of the why.
Yeah.
And the podcast you did, what Ted did recently, those are great examples of understanding and curiosity questions around who the overseers are. We have a better picture of them. We have a better understanding of them.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean we have to like them or agree with them at all, but we can sure understand where they're coming from,
Mhm.
which helps us view them in a different way and learn how to operate around them in a different way because of who they've shown us and told us that they are.
Yeah.
So understanding isn't always about building connection. It it's just understanding who that person is, what they're about, what their motives are. And that can be for good or it can be for like the overseers, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you have a
So
better feeling for them now.
I totally agree. And it kind of goes back to that aha moment that I had earlier this year, which was that, whether it's a relationship, a marriage, or a job, or staying in meeting, um, we're holding on to hope that they're going to change, or hope that they're going to. So the sooner you can get curious and ask the questions and drill down on and be honest about it, the sooner you're going to be able to either cut your losses or make an adjustment and a pivot in your own life to live parallel to or adjacent with
Yeah.
whatever is the actual reality, and to stop pretending that it's something that it's not, if that makes any
Yes.
sense.
I think of when you talk about holding on to the hope, I think I mentioned recently that it's the being the hopeaholic.
Yes.
And that is a phrase that happens often in any emotionally abusive situation. You
Yes.
hope it's going to change. You hope that it's not as bad. You see the good in them and hope it's going to be better.
Right.
But we're looking at the overseers. It's the same thing. It is what it is.
Right.
Until we stop being a hopeaholic,
Yeah.
you're just going to keep getting more of the same.
Yeah.
It's not changing over there.
Nope.
When we can look at it, understand it, and realize what reality is,
Right.
and what their truth is, and what our truth is,
Yeah.
it allows us to make change.
Yes.
Understanding allows for change too, not
Yes.
just agreement.
Yes. Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time contemplating, what's next and how to lead through that what's next phase and that's partly what drove you and I to doing this on a weekly basis is because we're getting to that stage of needing to move forward,
Yes,
needing tools to get there quicker, as quick as possible.
absolutely.
Um, to be able to navigate relationships with people who are still in relationships with on the outside, like building a life on the outside when you've never had a life on the outside and don't have relationships on the outside. It is not easy, man,
No, it's work. It's really hard.
in the beginning. And it's just learning to build trust and all of the things around it. It's hard. And then we have social media that has an algorithm that says you got angry on one post, it's going to start giving you anger all the way down the roll, man. You are going to get deluged with negativity. And so it's like everywhere we turn when that is the thing. So it's like finding a way to be in disagreement and continue to fight that fight by speaking truth, but
Yeah.
not at the cost of staying stuck there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, what you say about time to move forward. It's like it takes time to process and grieve the loss of a relationship, even if, whether it's a personal one or a religious, spiritual one. And, there's a betrayal to process, the
Right.
abuse to process. And then there's a time for the healing, the growth, the change. And that's why felt like we needed to do this on a more weekly basis,
Yeah.
because the communication side is so important for being able to move that forward.
Right. Well, part of the need of being right is being able to be honest about what the price you're willing to pay for being right. So I will use myself as an example because that's the only thing that I know how to do. I can tell you that the price that people like David, myself, you, some of us speaking out, Cynthia Lyles for sure, not putting words in anybody else's mouth here, but here's what I will tell you. There's a price, and that
Yeah,
price
there
is
is.
very high for all of us.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. When I sat down for myself and went through what I call currency in a relationship. So the currency of connection, the currency of understanding, the currency of so that I could put a price on what I was willing to pay for knowing that I'm right, like in standing in that truth, how important it is. And it's not about me being right. It is about the evidence and the truth. And that's what I'm not willing to back down from. But I am willing to come at it. However, I will be as humble as the pie came rising up from wherever. I don't care. I will do whatever change, shift, pivot we need to make to say it different, do it different, present it different in a way that there can be some understanding and that we can at least get back to having some dialogue
Yeah.
instead of this whole pow pow,
Yeah. And I want to be clear that, it's still possible to absolutely stand in your truth,
Yes.
in your reality, in your knowing, in your knowledge. That doesn't have to be given up. That's not
Right.
what we're talking about today.
Right.
It's about being able to have deeper conversations of curiosity and understanding,
Yes.
so that connection can either be formed or sometimes connection severed.
Yes.
It's it gives you the right information you need. And if you're trying to build deeper connection, it gives you allowance for that. If you're
Yes.
trying to understand who somebody is so you can distance yourself, i.e. overseers, you have that information in a real way. So the understanding the need to be right, we do have to let that go. Standing in our truth is not the same as the need to be right.
Boom. That's the point of the day, everybody. That is the point of the day. Um, that is spot on. 100% spot on. And I really feel like being honest about where our ego is in all of that is key. And
Yeah.
when we can get honest about, so like when I know for sure that I am not speaking from a place of ego, I am literally speaking from a place of knowing and understanding and of compassion and passion for those that are less vulnerable. I don't worry one bit.
Mm-mm.
I don't worry how I'm going to say it, what I'm going to say. I know that the words are going to come and that the message is going to get out. Like I don't worry. I don't have any
Oh,
anxiety. It's when I start having eyes all over my head is when I realize ego has
yeah. Yeah.
slipped in there for me.
And
So
unfortunately, we all have ego.
we do. Everybody does.
It's just part of being human.
It is.
It's a matter of controlling it. It's like our egos always wanting validation. And how do we get validation? We're right. That it's not true validation, but that's the easy validation.
That's why the saying, your greatest strength, sometimes also your greatest weakness. And
Yeah.
I will say, for myself, it was for a very, very long time. Ego is what saved me. It is what gave me the ability to really say F you for years.
Yeah. And it's kind of like ego does that. It's a motivator. It helped you change. It helped me, create the change we wanted, be who we wanted to be. It's kind of like fear and anger is a motivator for change. Also, there's these things like that aren't always considered a positive thing. Whether it's ego or fear, anger, but they're
Right.
actually really good short-term motivators, and that's what they're designed to do.
Yeah.
Anger can really help us separate from an abusive situation. That's often
Hmm.
what it takes, is getting to the point of being angry.
Yes.
Ego can help you start finding yourself.
Yes.
After a while, you learn I don't need that as much, but those are really important things. They're tools to use.
Yeah.
But don't let them be you.
Yes. Mardell is saying, Steve, you said the magic word validation and the need of. And I really think if we're going to talk about the 2x2s on that, part of the reason that it's so hard is because those who have left have not gotten validation from those that are still in. There is no
No,
validation. All they're
that never
getting
will.
is you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong, you are going straight to hell. And that in their need for validation isn't coming. So that might help you, those of you that are out, if you're wondering why that you sometimes question yourself and you're wondering, it's because they're not giving you the validation that you so desperately are needing and seeking. And so that's where the whole defensiveness is coming from. And the anger and the, like, why can't you just love me and see me? Well, they
The
can't.
only validation they will ever offer is the validation of following the one true way exactly as they speak
Yes.
it. There is no other validation. There is no other point of view. And
Right.
no, there will never be validation for walking your own path, for doing what's right for you. That will not come from anybody that's still inside. Just, it's not in their vocabulary. It's not in the mindset. It's not in the thinking. It's not available to them.
Right. So here's the concept that I say back to that. Stop asking for directions from somebody who has never left home.
Exactly. That's a great one. Well said.
It's that simple, man.
Yeah.
Literally, if all they've done is go to the end of their driveway and maybe a mile down a block or two, and you're seeking validation from them on how you're going to go live in the big wide world, stop. Just stop. Because that's why you're feeling crazy. That's why you're feeling so much anxiety. And it's because you're seeking validation and asking for directions from somebody that's never left home.
Yeah. And to be clear, that was where we were taught to get external validation. And that was the only validation that was allowed.
Yes.
What's important now is to look for internal validation. What
Yes.
do I know to be true? What is right for me?
Yes.
That's a validation we none of us were used to, that we're aware was available. But
Yeah.
internal validation is actually the strongest validation there is. I
Yes.
know who I am, and I know I'm walking the path that's right for me. Doesn't matter what's right for anyone else. Internal validation is really what's important and really difficult to find and to learn. But that's what we should all be looking for rather than external. And we had plenty of external. That's all we were allowed.
Yeah. And I will just say this, I'm going to say this. I think we say it almost every week now. It begins by being able to look in the mirror and see yourself and
Yes.
say, "Hi, hi. Maybe we've never met. Maybe we
Right.
met a long, long time ago, and we have both grown in different directions, and I would like to get to know you again." Like, that's where it begins. It literally begins by looking yourself in the eye in the mirror and deciding that you want to get to know the person that's inside.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's the inquiry of who am I?
Yes.
And it's not an easy question to answer
No.
after being told your entire life who you were.
Right. Totally.
And freedom like that is kind of scary.
Very scary. It is very, very scary. And that's why I feel like the stronger this community gets, the less scary it might be,
Yes.
because you can
Yeah.
see that other people. I had somebody the other day say, "I want what you have. I want the joy. I want the knowing. I want the," and I'm like, "Okay, well, let's go then." Because it's possible, when you start to see, and it's same with you. I mean, there's so many of us that have, again, not a competition. It's just that we've been out for a little while longer. So just be patient with yourself, have grace with yourself, and know that by even sitting and listening to this right now, you are on the right path.
Yeah. And I think it's important also to really look at a community like this as a good stepping stone, but it's not an end place. It's a
Right.
place for growth, learning, for transitioning. It's like a really good halfway house.
Yes.
But it's not a place to stop and
Right.
to live and find this as the only community. It's really important to grow beyond and go on to the next step in our own lives. But it's that, who am I? What do I want? Where do I want to go?
Yes.
This is a great community that's being built, but it's not the end result for most people.
Hmm. I see it very much as a threshold.
Hmm.
Um, it'll always be kind of what I call like my new home, my new family, like, but the way that we're meant to live in our life is that you grow up and you move away from your family and you
Yes.
build your own life and you have your own children and your own whatever, and you go do what you're meant to do in your life. And so I really am, that is somebody asked me a couple weeks ago what my end game was. And I said, that's it, for people to just, you know, grow up and move away and build their own families. And I meant that in that way, like in just the
Hmm.
threshold of, we are here to help you cross over out of fear and into love, self love, love for your neighbors that we were never allowed to have, love for your community that you live in and work in, and, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very, very healthy space for that. But yeah, it's like build our lives, move out, move
Yeah.
on, but always come back for a check-in. It's that
Oh,
family's always here,
yes.
but it's not moving from one house to another and staying in that house now.
Right. Exactly that. And that's why, I get a lot of criticism too, for allowing on Survivor. Some people are believers in Christ, some people are not, some people are Hindu, some people don't believe, whatever. They're all different. I don't believe there. I don't allow it to just go down one path. And that's
Hmm.
why, because it's not our job. It's the Holy Spirit's job, if it's going to speak to you, whatever that is for you personally. That's not our job. Does that make sense? And I don't
Yep,
want to be in
absolutely.
that position.
No, it's to encourage everybody to
Be
follow what's right for
curious.
them.
Yes.
And really, it's different for every single person. Even
It
if
is.
there's a lot of similarities for some people, it's still different. And no
Yes.
two people are going to walk exactly the same.
Right.
And we had to, now we don't. So
Right.
what's that going to look like?
Yeah. What I can say is that we all know when authenticity is being modeled for us. There is a
Yeah.
feeling, there is something that resonates down in somebody's gut that says, I know that that person is speaking their truth. I know that that person isn't putting on airs or saying what anybody wants me to say or whatever it is. And that's the goal for everybody, is to be able to get to that place of having an authentic voice.
That is so important because when you hear somebody speak authentically, it resonates like nothing else does. And you know it. You know, and when you start paying attention, you know when somebody's not being authentic
Yes.
and they're hard to listen to. But the more you develop that skill, first just realizing when somebody is really speaking their truth in an authentic way, whether you agree with it or not,
Mhm.
you feel the authenticity of it. And I
Yeah.
think that's a really good place to start in listening, is hearing that with other people. It helps us be able to express that for ourselves, but it
Right.
also helps us define and hear those that are not in a
Right.
way that we can inquire a little more, like what's going on there, what's, tell
Right.
me more about that. So you
Right.
can kind of, sometimes you can find their authentic self underneath that, not always, but
Well, and the other thing that happens when you need to be right all the time, and when we thought that we were right all the time and that we were, in fact, the only right ones in the entire damn world, the next piece of that is judgment, what comes after that. So it's like you go, the threshold from being right all the time is into a world of judgment. Like it's just this horrible cycle of negativity and darkness that feels now so wrong. Like
yeah.
there's no tolerance. There is no like, and you wonder, I mean, I have literally had people wondering, like, why am I struggling at work? Okay. Well, let me be honest with you about your mentality. You think you're right all the time and you judge everybody around you. Why do you?
But
So,
if they would just do what I thought,
yeah, but I'm like, I'm not trying to tell you that you're a bad person for being that way. I'm telling you, your programming made you that way. And
yes.
therefore, you're going into your workplace with an attitude of self righteousness that's not becoming. And it
Mm-mm.
is not conducive to relationship or connection or building a team or, if you're in sales or whatever. Like,
It has bright flashing red lights all over it.
yes.
It just stands out and it's not pretty.
Yes. And so I just
Yeah.
want to say that to anybody listening that's on the 2x2 side of this. Literally, like, we are not speaking bad of you or to you. It's an honest reality of the way that we all were at one point. When you're
Hmm.
raised in this, that's what comes out at the end. It's like a widget that you come out at the end, and we all look the same, act the same, feel the same. It's just
Speak
that's how the
perfect.
system works.
Yes. Yeah. It's a complete system that has zero deviation.
Yeah. And here we are. Now we're facing our fears. We are making connection with one another. We're building authenticity. We are seeing our purpose and the hope that lies ahead for us. We're crossing the threshold from fear into what is next for us. We're starting to, I'd say we're kind of at the teenager stage of, growing up. And pretty soon here we'll be building new outside of just this community. And then we'll move on and
Yeah. And you have to stop and acknowledge just how hard it is to be whatever age we are when we leave,
yes.
learning to have to ask those questions of who am I? What do I want?
Yes.
How do I communicate? All these things we really didn't know. It's a daunting task. And I've often used the analogy of being thrown off a cliff in the dark. You just have no idea what's down there. And it's pretty scary, but
It
you
is.
have to do it. You have to do it.
Right.
And you have to just jump in and start. But I want to acknowledge how hard it is,
Yes.
having been through the experience.
Yes. And I want to just say, be honest about how far you've come already. I mean, honestly, oh, people, because of the way we were raised, It's that whole, but I haven't gone far enough, and I haven't gone as far as I want to go, blah, 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 blah. And all of that negativity and that negative self-talk is feeding directly into your need to be right. It's feeding into your desire and need to defend your position because you haven't quite arrived yet. So it's like you're still feeling defensive about it. You haven't reached
Yeah.
the place of knowing. And that's why having this conversation about our need to be right and just being honest about where we're at. So stopping long enough to say, I want to put myself in the other person's shoes. We're running out of time, but this is what last word I want to talk from you about is practicing curiosity. How do people even get started in practicing this mindset?
I think what we've been talking about this whole podcast is the crux of it, not needing to be right, but being willing to be wrong or being willing to not know.
Yeah.
I struggled with this early on, and I had to just take the attitude of trying to look for spaces that I could be wrong,
Right.
that I needed to learn more, because I didn't do it naturally. So I had to try to find spaces where, oh, I don't know that. Let me ask about that. And even that was difficult for me. But it's being willing to make those little changes to realize we don't have to be right, and there's actually strength and growth in not being right.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually way easier.
It is way easier. Okay, so this is my definition is confidence says I know what I believe.
Yes.
And certainty says, or defensiveness, or whatever you want to call it is, and anyone who disagrees with that is wrong.
Correct.
That's the little extension. You know how we have extensions on all these websites? Mm-hmm. Okay. Delete that extension. Delete the part that says, and anyone who disagrees with me is wrong, because yes, that is the crux of the problem. Confidence leaves room for curiosity and learning and growing, and certainty just closes that door and says, I'm right, you're wrong.
No space for learning there for anybody.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. Practice your wins. Think about for a second a time in your life that changing your mind actually made your life better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where did asking the question make you actually learn something that you were glad you did?
Yeah. Yeah. What questions do you guys have out there for us before we wrap this up? Because we're already out of time. Man, Steve, that just went by way too damn fast. I have way too many things. I still want to talk to you. What else is on your list that I haven't gotten to?
I think we covered it pretty good, but I just wanted to leave it more with kind of what I said earlier. You don't have to compromise your values to understand another person's experience.
Ooh, say that one more time.
You don't have to compromise your values to understand another person's experience.
I like that. That is the essence of it all right there.
Yeah.
Especially in the 2x2 space.
Yeah. It's not an all or nothing. It's not a black, white, either or. How about both and?
I like that. Both and. Yeah. Because the world is the real world on the outside of that bubble is not certain.
Mm-mm.
You can find certainty in it. I have a lot of certainty in my life about what I know and believe, but only because I have been curious about a lot of different things and experienced a lot of different things and different relationships and, yeah.
And I'd be willing to bet that your certainties are even open to changing as you grow and learn and change too.
Yes.
There's certainties for us right now, but I know I'm willing to adapt, change, adjust those certainties as I learn.
Right. And that's what self-confidence does, is it gives you the ability to pivot. It gives you the ability to be wrong and vulnerable. It gives you the ability to, when you know for sure that you're still a good person and that you're capable of good things and that you have good intentions and that you have a big heart and you want what's best and you're doing your best. When you can live in that, knowing, you will make better decisions faster and you will build relationships that are so much stronger. It's not funny. You will stop second guessing yourself all the time and you will stop being a defensive prick.
Absolutely. Well said.
There you go. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you, Mardell. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for everybody that's out there watching. Thank you to everybody watching us later. We will be back next week. I'm not going to tell you what the subject is because I don't know what the subject's going to be next week.
We'll be here somehow.
Steve will figure it out maybe this time. But anyways, yes, thank you, everybody. Join us this afternoon on Worthy of the World. We will be just having a girls' night talking about all kinds of stuff for an hour together. And then right here on Survivor Rights, we will be talking with I got to say her name right. Melissa Tigard. I want to say Melissa. It's Melissa Tigard. And she's going to talk about all kinds of things on life on the outside. So, all right, everybody. Love you lots. Have an amazing rest of your day.